Okay, everybody, good evening, and thank you for attending, and thanks to the public for attending. I'll just read this. The meeting's being recorded, will be broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 20, the administrator must inquire, that's me, whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to make themselves known. Seeing nobody, we'll move on. Okay, take a roll call, start here.
Bill Carey.
Bill Monroe.
Pete Sampu.
Chris Clark, Town Council Liaison.
Rich French.
Maureen Piccioni.
Chris Gadd, Communications Assistant from the Department of Public Works.
Coleman Park Manager.
Donna Bragg.
And Tom O'Neill, thanks everybody. First thing is the minutes from July, since we postponed, we canceled the August meeting. Anybody have any comments about the minutes from July? Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, thanks everybody. Okay, is that notes from the chair now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there's one quick change we're gonna make on the agenda, is under notes from the chair, we're gonna just add kind of a notes from the chair et al., make it sort of a broader section, so that if any of you guys have an issue you wanna raise at that point, rather than it being haphazard, or if you forget about it because it's the end of the meeting, whatever, that'll be a time for any of the board members to make an issue known that they wanna talk about, so we can get that on the agenda. It may not be something we can address at that meeting. We'll make sure if it is an issue that we wanna continue debating, then we can put it on the next agenda, so that'll just open up the discussion options a little bit. So today, from under notes from the chair, since we didn't have, things were moving quickly, didn't have time to totally get it onto the agenda. I sent you all an email from the town regarding this open space project that's ongoing, and there's three headings. We're looking at water resources, conservation, and recreation. Renee, who's not here tonight, she wasn't able to be here, she's got family issues. She's been attending the recreation piece of it, as you can imagine, makes sense. They asked me to attend the water resources thing, meeting last Thursday. I couldn't do it, I was a bit unavailable. I did speak to, I've got blank on her first name, Maldonado, Caitlin Maldonado, and said to her that I would try to get her feedback, and we had a brief discussion, because an awful lot of the project is much broader than what we're dealing with the Sandy Neck. So, you know, there's a slice of it that relates to Sandy Neck, but for the most, even under water resources, you know, they're talking about sewers and water quality and a whole bunch of things that are not really particularly related to Sandy Neck. So I told her that since I couldn't make the meeting, what I would do is distribute the questions that they were looking to get responses to, which I did to you guys last week, and that we would have a brief discussion tonight in some of the areas that might relate to Sandy Neck. Obviously, we are in the middle of probably one of the largest resiliency projects going on in the Cape right now. So, you know, we're sort of tuned in pretty well to the issues of coastal resiliency at the moment. But I suggested to her that we would just go through, take a few minutes at the board meeting to go through it, and I'm going to give her a call tomorrow and just give her whatever feedback that the board might have, excuse me, so they can stay on plan in terms of the project schedule. Again, I don't think it's, the breadth of the project goes way beyond, you know, although recreation kind of loosely ties to Sandy Neck, and kind of in a sense, we have our three strategic areas, which are conservation, basically public outreach / recreation, and coastal resiliency. So it connects quite a bit, but most of what we're doing, you know, ties mainly to the resiliency piece. I also look back at the 2018 open space study, which was the last time it was done. And I'm gonna guess, I'm not gonna prejudge what's gonna happen, but I would suggest there are probably a lot of things that were mentioned in there that are gonna come back, you know, again, particularly as it relates to beaches and things like that, you know, having better access to beaches and ways to water and all the different things that are mentioned in there, which are not particularly an issue with Sandy Neck, but more generally with beaches in the town. So we'll see what, you know, there's a lot of work going on in that right now. I think they have a consultant involved, so we'll see how that turns out. But I just want to spend some time today to just try to get any of the thoughts you guys have, look at some of these questions and see if there's things that we can use our experience to help inform the project team about issues that we see which could go even beyond, just, it could be recreation, it could be conservation, doesn't matter, but anything that you guys might see that would be worth mentioning to them in terms of this project work. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. It's all day, actually. Right, Nina? So, that's the project. So when you look at the questions, that's just under water resources. This is kind of a general question. What aspects of the water resources are currently being managed well? Well, I guess most of us are pretty much familiar with Sandy Neck. I'm not really familiar with any of the other, water resources in the town. So, but what are the biggest challenges facing us today at the beach? Let's put it that way rather than making it more general, other than resiliency as we're working on. Are there other things that you guys see as being challenges that we should be thinking about for the future? What the town should be looking at?
I wasn't quite sure I'm not sure I understood the purpose. What the questions are leading to. You said so there was a study done in 2018.
We do a
on
study
open
every 8
space.
years. I think Chris could probably opine on that.
Yeah, so the town's open space and recreation plan has to be updated on a regular basis. It used to be every 5 years, now it's 7 years. And it expired in August, so the town and the open space committee is trying to accelerate this evaluation and update of the 2018 open space and recreation plan. So it's just what is our plan for the next 7 years, and how do we, who's got the responsibility? There's a spreadsheet in the back of the, I think it's section 9, that says what the action item is, who's the responsible party, what's going on. For example, I think it'd be very illustrative this year to say that the action item for coastal resiliency for the neck is happening. It's not something that is aspirational, it's underway. So I think that would be a good, can't say it's completed, but in 7 years you'll be able to say it's completed.
Yeah, one of the things that's unclear is, because you're right, there is a section in the back which has a number of different headings with to-dos, who's responsible. What's not clear in 2018 is what happened. Did the town do a recap of the to-do list in 2018 to kind of bring it up to date?
The consultants are going through that now.
Okay.
The consultants are working on it, the town staff is working on it, we're trying to collect public input to support that, and it was discussed that a very robust public outreach was done for the update of the town's local comprehensive plan. Worked on it for 3 years, and it's just got approved by the council last Thursday. So it was a very fresh public outreach on many things, but they can take the open space and recreation section and the public comment for that to help support the update of the open space and recreation section.
Yeah, so but it's not clear exactly, there must be 30 or 40 to-dos on the back of that sheet. It's not clear to me if any of them were actually done or
So I said the consultant is working on that
Okay.
to see, there will be items on there that will never be done.
Right.
But you're clarifying, it was done in 2018 and was work done on that list since 2018?
2018, yeah.
And you're saying that the consultants are looking into it now as to the list from 2018? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I would have thought they would have done that before they
So I
asked for
think
more
that's the
feedback.
question. It's not the consultants are working on the, new list that was just, discovered.
public
This is the
meeting.
list
They're
from
doing the
2018.
research. What needs updating, like how many acres were preserved for open space, or how many playgrounds have been rehabbed, and how,
Right.
recreation and open space. So they're gonna look at checking the inventory, what's the current status, what has been completed, what is still ongoing, what yet needs to be done.
Sounds like a report card.
Like a what?
Like a report card that'll be then brought to the town council. The town council will
Yes, and approve
evaluate it
Yeah.
and
And the
approve
town-
it or
The town needs
modify.
to have a plan that the town council agrees to and is approved by the state in order to receive state funds. So part of it is, it enables the town to avail itself of state funding.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily see it, but I would like for us to voice a strong support for water quality in term, associated with water resources. Barnstable Harbor has the benefit of having Sandy Neck with little or no nutrient inputs to it. The south side of much of Barnstable is 2-acre zoning and still a fair amount of undeveloped land there. This results in an estuary of notable cleanliness, so much so that in fact it generates a lot of money and shell fishing opportunities for recreational fishermen. A lot of money being the shell fishing that happens there. And that's all related. Water quality is an important aspect of water management.
Yeah, I was shocked to find out today that there's something like 4,000 shellfish permits sold every year, which is, I would have never guessed it was that many.
Yeah, no, it's a huge resource and valued by not just the watershed of Barnstable Harbor, but of our entire town and even beyond our town. I got a good buddy north of Boston who buys a oyster, who buys a license every year. It's something that should be a model on how do we maintain our resources for the benefit of all.
So
Yeah,
you would,
again.
oh, sorry.
Not directly tied to Sandy Neck, but certainly related because of the location.
Yeah.
So basically you would, like in question 6, it's like, would you like to add anything else? You're basically saying that you would like the feedback, that you would like water quality added.
An important part of water management.
Okay, an important part of water management?
Yeah.
Because of the estuary and you, when you mentioned 2-acre zoning, you meant north side, right?
Yeah,
That's why-
of course,
yeah.
yes, well, that's within West Barnstable.
Yeah.
And.
You said south
You
side.
said south, yeah.
Oh,
You did.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right.
Oh, it's the south side.
South of the harbor.
Yeah, south harbor.
I
On
know
the
what
south
he said.
side of
You did.
Barnstable Harbor.
100%.
Yeah.
Correctly. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, it's
Thank you.
interesting because in the 2018 report, they referenced this coastal resource management plan, which has been developed for the south side, but not for the north side. And one of the to-dos in the 2018 plan was to develop this resource plan for the north side. So what I don't know is whether it's been done or not, or whether it's still an open to do, but it's something that we ought to get some information about. and
As a
find out.
Sandy Neck board, we can really send a loud message to our town councilors and the whole town of, what's being done right.
Because the north side effectively is Millway and Sandy Neck.
Right,
That's pretty much it, so.
Right, well, yeah, it's a village of Barnstable, which, it just should be a model.
think one of the-
For the value that our natural resources bring to our community.
Reading the plan, there's a lot of stuff in there about water quality. But some of it focused on drinking water, some of it focused on cyanobacteria and
Right,
other
no.
issues that are.
No, this is a nutrient, primarily nutrient related.
Okay, well, that's one thing.
Along those same lines, have we had any beach closures because of the bacteria or whatever at Sandy Neck?
No, not this year.
Or
We've had
no way
the
either.
odd one. Every once in a while we get a high count, but it could just be, where they capture that there was like a little bacteria.
After rain.
It could be wildlife, it could be anything, but every once in a while we'll have that, but I think we had a hot one this spring, but then it's all been fine this winter, this whole summer.
I think Barnstable Harbor, though, at times had some issues, hasn't it, with
Yeah,
water
they
quality?
do.
Millway Beach.
Yeah, well, waterfowl coming in and defecating within the harbor.
Yeah. Cormorant season.
Cormorants. And the terns in the boat.
In boating world, we call them pooperants, because they're usually up on someone's mast,
Really?
coating somebody's sailboat, so.
Yeah, prolific this year.
I mean, one of the issues that comes up just to prompt a discussion about something that occurred to me, and we've talked about this, which is the dilemma. I like to look at the world as a series of dilemmas, but it's not binary. If you read the paper, the report, it talks about access quite a bit, but then it talks about the need to protect. So you have this dilemma between, you know, how do you allow for access to the beach in whatever form that takes, fishing, camping, you know, sunbathing, whatever. And then you have this other issue of the flora and fauna, water quality, you know, how do we protect that at the same time? And that dilemma is really can be quite a lot of tension in that.
Are you
Dealing.
familiar with that?
That's why you feel like jobs.
They can show you the scars if you need to see, believe me.
That's our whole deal over there is how do we balance?
It's the balancing,
You know,
conservation and
And
recreation.
it's, you know, and a big part of that is the interchange that the staff has with folks coming in the gate and making sure that they understand what the rules are and what they can do and all of that. And I know it's hard to have those interchanges on a busy day, but I can tell you from witnessing them that they still happen. And, you know, make sure that folks know where they can go and what they can't do and all that. So, I mean, we've already got a lot. It's not like you have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, it's just a matter of a lot of that is already in place and has been with, you know, these guys' systems for years and years and years, you know.
It even goes back to the 2002 report. It was done when Sandy Neck transitioned from a different management structure to the current setup. In fact, your
Governing board.
Nate was on the forefront of that, is I think Rich too at that time, and maybe Pete too. Were you there?
Close.
Okay. And, you know, it talks in there about this tension. They don't say that, but basically that it has to be a facility that can be, you know, have the flora and fauna have its place, have people have access to it in different forms, and somehow make that work. As opposed to, for example, just say, hey, it's just shut down to humans. You know, we're just going to let the animals and plants flourish. But my hypothesis is that that's going to get more difficult to manage in the future rather than less. And so the question is, what things do we need to be thinking about in terms of that? If you believe my hypothesis, what things do we need to be thinking about in terms of managing that as we go into the future? You know, is it just going to get more crowded and more pressure on on usage? We're limited by parking spaces, which to some extent helps that problem. But let's just say hypothetically the town said we're going to put a 1,000-person car park, you know, somewhere in West Barnstable so that we could ship more people to the beach. You know, what problems would we want that?
I think you would have some input from the police department on that.
Thank you.
And maybe the staff.
Yeah, but you know, it's rules that exist now are illusionary in terms of them being permanent. You know, it's like zoning rules, and any other rule they can always change. So it's good. It's always a good thing to look at and say, well, what could happen, and how would you react to it? But that's the thing that I find interesting about Sandy Neck is managing that tension. And I don't know what the issues will be in the future, but my guess is it'll get more difficult to manage rather than less. But do you guys see that or believe that, or? Yeah, go ahead.
We already tried the parking issue when we tried to utilize at some point Lombard property and figuring out how you could get people shuttled from there, which is the old railroad station in West Barnstable, to Sandy Neck to facilitate more people coming to the beach. And it didn't work out at the times, but again, that should be something that's out there. If you're looking for more people to come to the beach and kind of like jam them in, but it's not something I think we want to do.
It's expensive too. Go ahead, sorry.
My sense of what they're asking for is actionable items.
Yeah.
I think. So maybe not lofty sort of things that may or may not happen as much as things that we can respond to. I think we're a net positive when it comes to the environment, to the water issue. I can't imagine that ever be an issue. I mean, we have this huge marsh that cleanses everything. And so I think the short answer to the water issue is that there isn't any because of the nature of Sandy Neck. You know, we're net positive on that issue. And I think they're looking for, my sense, and you'd have to correct me, is that they're looking for things that we could do to improve a situation or things that, you know, as you said, maybe if we really were serious about adding 1,000 parking spaces, saying what it is that we wanted to do about that.
Yeah, it's not just that though, because it's more strategic than that. It's saying, in the future, what are the issues or barriers we're gonna have to face, what are the, this one that talks about, what emerging approaches that Barnstable considers supporting or exploring. So these are not typically to-do things. They're usually something that's more, the answer is usually be something more strategic and longer term, but yeah, go ahead.
I think one of the things that, and building on it, was the issue of the degradation of the marsh. All right? There's been, and I'm not a scientist. I leave that up to my colleague here. But there's been concerns that the marsh in certain spots are beginning to degrade. And what does that do for the water quality? And so that's something that maybe we would like to address in the future.
In fact, it's one of my to-dos, which I didn't do, was to bring the, forget who it was, but that did that study a couple years ago on the marsh about that very issue. It was fascinating. I attended a Zoom conference call, presentation. I think you were there. Do you remember that? It was really an interesting, worth maybe having, was it a woman? I can't remember her name now, but made the presentation, but I can find it.
It was a number of different organizations
Yeah,
working
that
together,
presented,
including Woods Hole, but it was talking about the marsh subsiding.
Right.
And how the mosquito ditches contribute to that.
Yeah.
But marsh degradation is a concern in terms of keeping Sandy Neck resilient in the future.
Right.
And part of that is sea level rise and marsh subsiding for various reasons. And then also other areas on the Cape are dealing with marsh disease, where they're actually having loss of marsh as well. So it's a huge topic in my world. And I know Mass Audubon is doing a lot of outreach on that as well. So that does tie into your water quality.
Yeah.
So supporting those efforts to research potential loss of our great marsh. Our great marsh is a huge asset to this town, to water quality, to Sandy Neck, to stormwater, to buffering for storms, as somebody has mentioned. Fisheries. It's wildlife. It's really an important piece.
Is that something that gets specific focus from the town, that sort of work? I just don't know.
What the different?
Well, someone is addressing, it's someone's responsibility to address just what you talked about.
Yeah, Amber and I sort of tag team that. So there's a lot of different organizations on the Cape that are looking at, wetland resources. You've APCC, there's so many that kind of have Mass Audubon, and everybody has to sort of collaborate. Cape Cod Commission's another one, and then they disseminate that information to the towns, and that would come to Amber and myself through different committees that we're on.
Mm-hmm.
So both Amber and I are on multiple committees where those different agencies come and speak about their work.
Okay. Another facet of the access issue is something we've also been talking about, particularly with Renee, and is the access of people in town to the beach that may not be normally, I don't know whether you want to call it underserved, or just people that are not aware of it, or not typically familiar with Sandy Neck as a resource and don't utilize it. We had that session set up in the spring where we had busloads of some of the kids from Hyannis school. I forget which school district it was, but it's in a lot of cases kids who had never been to that beach, even though they live in the town, which is amazing. So that's another, I think in terms of us getting more active in that area, I think that's something that we should continue to do. And also, we can bring that, I don't think that was particularly there was some of that brought forward in that 18 report, I think, but maybe that's something at least we could emphasize in terms of Sandy Neck. All right, let's see. We have the sandwich issue, of course. We'll get into that. Yeah, let's see. So anyway, that is there any other, I think my general takeaway was, Rich sent me a note, which I kind of agreed with, which is there's not a lot here that's either A, we're not kind of on top of as it relates to Sandy Neck, or B, that is new and different, or and some of the areas are just really outside of our scope, really. Right. But I think there's a couple of bullet points here I think I can talk through with Kate. least give her some feedback anyway from the board, and then if she needs more, she can always come back to us. Does that make sense?
I think it depends upon how deeply we want to drill down into this. You know, if you want to get into real detail, or if it's just a real general 40,000 foot look at something.
Yeah, but if you look at the project, they're doing public meetings, they're surveying different boards and commissions, so they're spreading their questionnaires pretty widely. So I think at this point, it's a little bit more 30,000 feet. And the results ultimately will be a little more refined, I think, whatever they decide. I suspect it's gonna be a combination of going back to AT and saying, what didn't we do that we still wanna do, include that. And then look at any of the emerging issues that are coming now that they didn't see in 2018. It's a long time, 8 years, so. But I don't think we wanna go any deeper as a board right now.
I think one of the important things to bring up is, as you sort of mentioned, we're highly regulated. We have all these agencies keeping on top of things. We have, through your leadership, excellent management of the beach that keeps everything under control, keeps a lid on things. I think that's so critical to this whole process, so that things don't get out of hand, so that, you know, we are respecting conservation, but we're allowing access. Because those are some of the questions, was, you know, what can we do to improve access? So it is that balancing act all the time that's going on. We have people that own properties out there, and they have a right, you know, to use the space too. So it's, you know, you've got all those stakeholders that you have to consider in this. So I don't know how deep they want to look at this in specifics, or.
I would doubt that Sandy Neck is a high priority in this study, to be honest. I think a lot of it is more about open space and, you know, water quality and some of those things. I think, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Sandy Neck's a complex place with lots of different agencies and stakeholders. You know, it's always felt to me that it's pretty under control, so, yeah.
Yeah, and sort of given the bona fides that we have, again, I'm going to suggest to other interests in our town that Sandy Neck is a great model. We've got great management, we've got a good board here that is got good history and is doing a damn good job. So if other beaches, other water resources, other conservation areas are looking for advice, they should talk to folks who know about this board and know about Sandy Neck. I think it's a fantastic model.
Yeah. Okay, anybody have any other feedback they want to give? And otherwise, we'll move on. I have enough I can talk through with Kate a bit. And again, if she needs any more, she'll get back to us. Bless you. Okay, thank you, everybody. That late add to the agenda. What do we got next? Staff report, correspondence?
I don't have any
Okay,
correspondence.
staff report then?
All right, so real quickly, we are in the fall, which is the most beautiful time of the year at Sandy Neck. I will say it is gorgeous out there right now, mola everywhere. Seals, just birds everywhere, gorgeous, I know.
Mola?
Everywhere.
Huge.
Yeah,
Saw it on my cardboard, it's
Yeah.
close.
yeah.
Are they washing up on the beach?
Not yet.
No.
It's a little early.
Oh my God, I gotta get out there with a kayak.
Trail 2 is where you're gonna find them. So I invite y'all to come out. Everybody knows who lives here, fall is the most beautiful time. Our gatehouse hours are 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We're selling our fall ORV permits, which are reduced rate. You can buy them at the gatehouse or you can get them online. We're open to 4.5 miles and we went to 4.5 miles. I emailed everybody, but I wanted to, I wrote it down here.
You know, I missed it.
Yeah, it was a little early this year. So we went to almost 4.5. We went to 4.3 or whatever on the 16th of August, which is good.
Yeah.
And then on the 23rd, we had one turn left and we had a storm come in. We lost that chick and we were able to open all the way to Trail 6, which frankly, the cottage owners way prefer getting all the way to 6 because it's easier to get to their cottages. We had a great staff this year. A lot of return faces, some new faces. A lot of those young folks are back at school, so we have minimal staff left. Just a reminder. Every year we have that beautiful September day, and all of a sudden it's like August, and I've got 3 people on. So be kind. Donna, I want you to go. Maybe I just,
Keyboard wasn't on.
There you go.
oh, thank you. Keyboard wasn't on.
Got a tech guy handy?
Thank goodness.
So we had 606 off the top of my head.
Yes.
620, I
Nest.
thought.
620. It changed actually.
Changed actually.
Oh, it did?
It
Okay.
was 606, the last one.
I can't remember.
Close.
Somewhere between
Somewhere
600.
between 6,
More than
yeah.
600.
More than
A lot.
600.
Let's go with that. Turtle nests. So right now they're hatching in the dunes. Another beautiful thing that's going on. We have, I wanted to call them chicks, but we've hatchlings in the garage for our Head Start program. If anybody wants to come have a look, that's what this picture is. They're also emerging out in the beach, so on the back trails. So just to remind you, drive slow, keep your eyes out for hatchlings at this time of year.
On the front beach.
No, Marsh Trail.
Yes.
What's you encounter one trying to make his way, what's the procedure? Move it in
Pick
the
it up and
direction that
move
he's
it
going?
in the direction of the marsh. I would just move it in the direction of the marsh. Get it off the road, otherwise leave it be.
Food.
Okay, got a couple events coming up. Tomorrow, we already had the hike for terrapin hatchlings, that was with Mass Audubon. We have yet another one in search of terrapin hatchlings, that's a Barnstable Land Trust hike, but it's led by staff. I think Anne Marie is taking that tomorrow. Probably will see hatchlings. Certainly since we have them in the garage as well. Bless you. Was that you? Okay. On the 10th, we're doing fall migration hike. I'm gonna lead that one. And on the 14th, Donna Bragg is doing Coast Sweep, as she does every year. So please join us for Coast Sweep, a really important work that's done. Do you wanna say anything else about Coast Sweep?
Yeah, Coast Sweep they've upped their game this year. We're gonna have QR codes posted where you actually download an app to sign in.
It's
And
easy.
you can report what you find on the beach directly to, and it would be through Sandy Neck, but directly to, so there's not, we're cutting down on paper. It's gonna be a really, this is the first year they're doing it. All right, we're all leaving because somebody's sick.
Can I just issue a general, God bless you?
Yeah.
Move on.
So this is the first year they're doing it. We're gonna see how it works out. MBVA invaluable to us, and they're gonna be spending Saturday night, and some of them in the parking lot, some of them on the beach, and we're looking forward to having as many people as possible come and clean our beach.
You know, before you switch that picture of the turtle is so great.
So cute.
That's like there should be a logo or an icon or something.
That's one of ours.
That's not one of ours.
Oh, it
No.
isn't? Oh, shouldn't have said that.
That's okay. We might have taken that.
Probably AI generated.
Yeah.
Okay, so then if you have
Is that one of your
any
pictures?
questions, that's one of Donna's pictures. I've been meaning to put that one up. Right off of her cameras.
Right after the camera's at the gate, I go, oh, I like that. Pink. Okay, we'll take that.
So any other questions about fall? I am gonna spend quite a bit of time talking about the project. So I'm not doing that during the staff report, but I can jump right into it if that's next. on
Why
the
don't we do
agenda.
that, because it's gonna be a long discussion, so.
Okay. All right, so moving on to what's on everybody's mind is this amazing project.
Let me just preface this discussion for a second by saying there's gonna be a number of steps to the rollout of this construction project, and each one is gonna have different impacts on users in different ways. So, but it's a compact project as best as it can be in terms of how it's been scheduled. But yeah, there are gonna be definite impacts. We talked about that all through the process. And Nina's gonna take us through kind of the first stage of the communications around some of the issues that the start of the project will create, and how it's gonna be managed. And then as we get into the project more, October meeting, we'll take the next step and go through that in more detail. So, because I think if we try to eat this elephant in one meeting, it's gonna be too much. So we'll take it in stages and give you, there'll still be more after today. As the project unfolds, there'll be more issues we have to deal with, access issues especially, so.
Yes, that is all correct. We're gonna talk about the next month or so, until our next meeting. I'm sort of, for the elephant thing, only taking that size of a bite of the elephant, is from now until our next meeting, which isn't until October 20th. Chris is joining me. He does the outreach for the town. Do you wanna speak about your role and how that's gonna work for this project?
Yeah, you want me to go into all the
No,
details
I'm gonna
now?
do mine
Okay,
first, but
cool.
just like how you're gonna be
Yeah,
doing the outreach
sure.
of your program.
So yeah, like I mentioned during the roll call, my name is Chris Gadd. I'm the communications assistant for the Department of Public Works. If you've interacted with Kelly Colopy, which I'm sure you have, I am her assistant because she just had so much going on, they needed another person. So really, my main goal, our main goal, Kelly and I's goal, is just to get the word out. We try to use as many different platforms as possible. We try to do it in as many different mediums, different video, photo, standard just letters, making sure that the word gets out there. So later on, after Nina does her stuff, I will go over the details of specifically how we're communicating each phase of this project. But for now, I'll pass it back over to Nina.
Super. And I wanna say, Don and I and Anne Marie, we are very good at beach closures and communication. We're really dialed in. We have a lot of conduits. We have a lot of experience. So we have this team, and then Kelly and Chris are mostly doing the outreach for the sewer project.
Yes.
So we all know that's a lot of closures, that's a lot of this is closed and that's closed and one lane, blah, blah, blah. So I think this is a really good team to work through the complexities of this one winter. And the pedal is down. So Robert Auer, as you all may know, won the bid. And they're coming out of the gate super hot, and I'm really appreciative of that. It's like, let's get this thing in, because when we get into the spring, it's really important that we're not like going on and on and on. We wanna be like doing the final touches of the lighting and we don't wanna be doing big projects in the spring. So having said that, I will go over, as I said, the next, oh, darn, okay. So this is complicated, I'm gonna get up, cause that's how I do best here. So follow the bouncing ball, people, cause it's about to get messy. One winter of work, okay? So starting September 22nd, that's our first date of closures. The Robert Auer is going to deploy. So they're gonna start staging, they're gonna start ripping up asphalt. So starting September 22nd, everybody sees the upper lot here, or maybe the people in the world, lower lot here. And here's our access trail down at the bottom of this. So September 22nd, we're handing over the lower lot to Robert Auer's team. And we're gonna be closing, oh God. We're gonna be closing right at the top of the access to the lower lot. And that's gonna be gone, okay? We don't want any people in there, it's not safe. We're also gonna be closing, these are the wrong dates, we're gonna be closing the access to the lower lot from the beach. So lower lot, just say goodbye to that for a while. During the week, so that Robert Auer's only working during the week. Obviously they're off on the weekends. They're gonna have barrels set up along the edge here of the upper lot, because this first phase is digging up the parking lot and then bringing in the sand. So they're gonna start bringing in the sand right out of the gate. So there's gonna be a lot of trucks coming through. Big trucks with a lot of sand. So we want to have, as vehicles come up here towards the top of the lot where the Bodfish rock is, they're gonna part company between the trucks going down to the lower lot and then the public in here. And Officer Kelsey and I went up and looked at it. We're looking at about 40 spots here. We're gonna put the portable toilet right here, because Robert Auer doesn't want anybody even in the bathhouse area. They want because we don't want people crossing in front of that. We're also gonna do some, if not all, of the days of heavy trucking PD detail up in this area. September 22nd. Yes,
The parking spots right down by the gatehouse, will they be made available as best as possible, all those?
they're
parking spots?
already available, yeah, I mean,
And even the staff?
We,
Thank you,
yeah, when we get less staff, it doesn't matter, just
thank you.
pack it in there, yeah.
Alright, that is the first date. The second, one more thing, whew, I almost forgot. So on the weekends, Robert Hour's group is okay we're on Fridays, they're gonna move these barrels back, and on the weekends, the public will have access to the entire upper lot, including the bathhouse area. Alright, there's no reason for us to hold a line when nothing is happening there. But they still need all of this is where their equipment this is gonna be trip hazards down here.
And
All right.
piles of sand.
Piles of sand. We know how much kids like to climb in piles of sand. So this gets us to about 50-55 spots for the weekends. We're gonna have to manage that pretty well, but we do have quite a bit of staff. There's quite a bit of signage up here. Chris is gonna talk about outreach in a second, how we're gonna deal with the neighborhood, how we're gonna get this information out to the public. But there's gonna be quite a bit of signage. We also wanna put it, as we move forward with this project, we're gonna be putting signage on 6A when we really start to get squeezed, because we want people not even to come down, right? All right, so the next closure is October 14th, which is the day after Columbus Day. Yeah, so the day after Columbus Day, we're gonna close down here, down by the access trail. And that's gonna be closed, that's it. We're not gonna have weekend access up here. So right down here, October 14th, that's gonna be the closure to people and vehicles. So folks can hike in. Can you see where I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, so it's just after the access trail?
Yeah, there's a hurricane gate right there.
Still use
Yes, so in fact, cottage owners and things can
Yes.
still, and beach people can still use the access trail.
Yes.
Got it.
So, so we have quite a few people that hike in from the neighborhood. They'll be able to continue on. They can go down the marsh trail. They can come down the sidewalk. At that point, we are close to the end of all these trucks going through. They can hike down the access trail. All of the access points to this parking lot, which will all be torn up. This is all in no trespass area. So folks will be getting to the beach via ORV. Cottage owners will be getting to the beach. And some limited hiking will be able to get to the beach because we do have some limited parking at the gate.
So just to be clear, that path, from that point on, the walking path here will not be available.
Yeah, the walking path has to be closed down as well. And that's where we really have to get clear with the public about parking, right? So that's when we're gonna need some signage up on 6A. You know, there's no parking down here. You know, the beach access is closed for the most part. So we really need to communicate after the 14th that there are so many other beautiful beaches to go to. I think maybe that's the time to go to Boardwalk or somewhere else. So off-road will still be open, and this won't open back up for a while, all right? So any other questions before I turn it over to Chris on how we're gonna get that information? Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm just looking at your webpage. Will you be able to post all those dates on your webpage so people can
Yes.
find it on their own?
Yeah, so Kelly has suggested that it's good to have one place for everything to go. And so we're looking at using the storyboard as that place, so we can set up QR codes, or like all the information will be in one place on the website.
Well, not everybody's gonna wanna read a QR code. Are you gonna be able to just at least post those dates, like
Yes, of
October
course.
14th,
Yes,
so that's,
There's
My
gonna be
point
a pretty massive communication,
yeah, maybe we
Press
can just turn it over
releases,
at this point.
letters, you know.
I'm
there's
just
more.
saying, if I was gonna look for information, I'd go to the webpage right now.
Yes, of
No
course.
indication that there's not gonna be any.
Yes, we have, so again, many years of dealing with closures. we have an interactive way that we can post our website right on the front. But in terms of letting the public know why it's closed and what's the next closure coming up, that's all gonna be pushed towards the storyboard. Because what we want is people to be invested in, it's not just we're telling you no, it's like, this is what we're doing, this is super exciting, get invested, right? But to your point, yes, the front page of the web page will also have it, yeah.
Paul?
Will the ORV trail remain open pretty much at all times, or?
From
from that
October at
closure.
least, the next meeting,
Yeah.
I'll be able to speak more to that. But for, at least for a while, we're gonna continue to have that access.
Will the air up station still be?
Start, yep, everything's open.
The ORV people, it'll be business as usual, pretty much, this period of time.
This period of time, the ORV is not affected. I think as we get into November and we start working towards the gatehouse moving, there will be some interruptions. But that whole picture hasn't come clear to me yet. And that's something that we want to evaluate. The way I'm presenting this really clearly to you right now. That's how I want to present the off-road piece, right?
Perfect.
And so the next meeting, I think Kelly's gonna join me and we're gonna move down this map and I'm gonna give you the blow by blow for the off-road vehicle beach. And obviously we have to continue to provide access to cottage owners as well, and we know that. Got it.
They didn't do it in May.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Do you want to take it from there on how we're gonna get this information out?
Yeah, so we have a lot of methods that we've utilized already. Like Nina mentioned, we do the comprehensive wastewater management plan, which is a whole bunch of sewer projects, a whole bunch of closing roads and one lane altering and all that stuff. So we're very familiar with this kind of saying you can't utilize something, which we know is not ideal. However, it is a necessity for the future of Sandy Neck. So I'm just gonna go kind of over the methods that we typically utilize. And then at the end, if we want to discuss more in detail, or you say, you guys are really the boots on the ground. So if there's something, we should do that, absolutely. So one of the biggest things that we do is media release. We do this for just about all of our projects, all of our major closures. We are targeting for later this week for that media release to go out. Just provides some general information on what the project is, and then B, the actual closure of, the lower parking lot is anticipated to be closed from September 22nd to October 14th. It does include the information about the off-road vehicle entrance trail, Marsh Trail, Gatehouse, etc., and that it is a phased approach to the work. When we get to the second phase, there will be another media release that says, hey, October 14th to whatever date it ends up being, we'll send that out as well. The second one that we do is a butter notifications letter, basically everyone who lives in the area. This one we are also targeting to mail sometime later this week, might be early next week, depending on if I can get to it. It is essentially the media release with a bit more detail. Obviously, these are the people who are more likely to be utilizing Sandy Neck, so we want to give them a little more detail. It also includes what they can kind of expect in terms of construction noise and construction traffic. As has been noticed multiple times, there's going to be giant trucks going down with a bunch of sand. The construction hours are 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., so it's not like there's any overnight work. But just in case there's someone sitting at home and they're reading a book and they're like, what the heck, it's noon and what's all that noise? So that way they know. We also utilize the My Barnstable mobile app. Hopefully you all have it downloaded. If you don't, it is available. It's totally free on Google Play, Apple Store, if you don't already have it. We will be sending out a notification through that. That will be a very boiled down version of the media release, basically Sandy Neck, lower lot closed. We can add a bit more detail than that. That will be closer to the actual closure date, just so people actually are reminded of it, but that also comes after the media release. We like to kind of remind people multiple times that something is happening so that they can't say that they forgot it or that they missed one specific thing. We also utilize social media postings. We leverage both the town of Barnstable's Facebook and Instagram, and also the DPW runs the Barnstable Water Resources Facebook and Instagram. We'll be utilizing all 4 of those accounts to post construction updates. We might even have some educational information. We're probably going to try to get down and take some pictures on site of, hey, this is what the construction is. This is what it's going to aim for. And then the last big thing that we do is the Barnstable e-news. If you're not already subscribed to e-news, you should absolutely do that. It is a weekly newsletter. In that newsletter, there's a little graphic that says like road work and construction updates, I think it is. And we'll be posting all the information about Sandy Neck and this related closure it comes out weekly. If there's no update, we still keep it in there. But if ever there's an update, we will add it in there. There's a few other smaller things that I know Kelly and Amber and Nina are working on. I will sorry, train of thought. Totally ran away. Yeah, there's a few other smaller things if we want to talk about. Really just flyers at the gatehouse of, hey, this is what's happening, this is why it's happening. And then lastly, kind of like I alluded to, we are very flexible in terms of what communications we do. If there is a way to communicate that you all are like, hey, we know that people who utilize the off-road vehicle trail always use, I don't know, some other platform or whatever. They like smoke signals or something. I mean, we'll look into it. I can't promise that we'll do it. But we're always looking for new ways to make sure that everyone stays involved and aware of what is going on. So that's a very brief overview of all of our communications.
I got a bunch of
Are
questions.
there any questions? Yeah, sure.
In the communications, are we gonna, or do you think, let me ask it the different way, do you think it would be a good idea to make sure we mention the benefits of the project in every communication?
Yeah, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
the communications tend to have a quick blurb. So this is from the draft media release of the Resilience Project, a critical initiative to preserve and protect Sandy Neck Beach Park's infrastructure, ecosystems, and public access.
Yeah, so I think in each of the communications, you should
Yeah,
just
all of them,
enforce that.
for the most part, will have some form of
Introduction.
and this is why we're doing it.
What about
I think that's what
sandwich?
the QR code that I didn't articulate well, Chris, is that if we do a flyer at the gatehouse, people come through and they're like, what do you mean? It's like, you wanna hand them something that is giving them a place to go to look up the information and get invested. Yeah, and sandwich is definitely, I just talked to Chris about sandwich.
just the one
We
I'm
have to
worried
have
about.
that be part of our media outreach.
But they'll, presumably, if you're gonna use the ORV email list to, and I guess you have a beach sticker email list too, right? Town, doesn't everybody that gives the
For
beach sticker?
Barnstable, it does, but Sandwich, as
I have
we've,
no
Right.
idea about sandwich.
Sandwich, I mean, we're not involved in that.
I wonder if they have an email list that
But
you can, they can use.
Nina is going to reach out to the people in recreation over there. One of us is going to,
Okay.
and we're going to, get with Chris and say, we really need, because so many people from Sandwich utilize the beach, off-road, but as well, a lot of people come up and, use the beach and they walk the dogs and do all that stuff. So Sandwich is as vital as Barnstable as far as outreach.
We're seeing that with the data we're starting to collect. This is a topic for another day, which is the utilization of the beach is actually as much or more sandwich. So
More sandwich.
it's a subject for another day. But, just in terms of communications, we just need to make sure that that's,
Yeah,
We knew that already.
yeah.
You're giving that, basically, you're gonna hand that information over to Sandwich, and then they're gonna disseminate it to their residents.
Right.
I mean, hopefully they have an email list for their beach sticker.
Certainly, you don't have any
I
control
would
over
say
that.
the bottom
but-
line is, we're not paying you all to reach out to Sandwich. That's their problem.
No, but you don't want 100 cars down there backed up,
Yelling at
trying
us.
to, yelling at them either, so.
Think
we
of
gotta-
me,
we gotta-
Pete, at the gatehouse.
Let me give you a couple pistols.
Yeah,
She may have to bring all 7 of her killer
yeah,
dogs.
all the killer dogs are coming now.
Right.
But I
Yes,
mean,
they
I
did.
think it's only fair to reach out to Sandwich
Oh, yeah.
because they,
Yeah, we have
we're
to.
so, we're together in this, so.
So one of the quickie, oh, sorry, go
The
ahead.
outreach has to be really clear, like, yay, this is happening finally, and it's only for the winter. That's easy. There's
Exactly.
somewhere else to go to. Like, it has to be that
Good.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
To
You should
keep
just tell them we're gonna
everybody
close for the
calm.
summer next year and then back off that and then they'll be happy.
Yeah. Oh, we changed our minds. It'll just.
So timing, just a
So the
quickie.
Barnstable residents that have a sticker can now go to the Sandwich Boardwalk and park.
Right, I should ask that question. I think you can though. I mean, I was just there the other day.
Off-season, it's not.
Off-season.
Let's take this a step at a time.
Yeah.
Just a quick point on the
Just
timing.
poking the bear a little bit, that's it.
Yeah. On the timing of the notice to the neighbors, that needs to go like ASAP, not when you can get to it. That's-
Yeah, no,
that's-
that is later this week / there's a small possibility of like Monday of next week.
Okay, well,
That's,
I'll probably get something out to the neighbors that I'm familiar with, which is our neighbor, like tomorrow, because if the trucks start rolling down there, I don't know how many 100 trucks a day or whatever's gonna be going down the street, they need to have had that letter, in
oh
time.
no, I absolutely.
Cancel things that they might be, if they're having a backyard barbecue and they don't wanna be listening to that for 7 hours.
Backyard barbecue at noon on a Monday?
No, they're not stressed. But you never
They're
know.
all
They're all
retired.
retired, so.
Can I ask?
Never know the day of the week.
Yeah, okay, that's my questions. Anybody, I'm sure,
Yeah, I think it's really important to have dates, right, in all these correspondences.
They will,
You
they
gotta-
will all have, yes.
So the September date,
Yep.
October date.
Yep, they will
Yeah,
all
they're
have.
good.
And an end date.
There's no end date, you can't.
Yeah, but you gotta you have to say something to people.
We
They need to know
utilize
something.
some form of messaging where we will say that it is anticipated to last however many weeks. But the beast of construction is, if I tell you it's gonna be done on Monday, it's not gonna be done on Monday.
Can you say it's gonna be done before Memorial Day?
I can talk with Kelly and Nina.
I think we
about,
really
I-
have to be so clear.
I
on
totally
this.
disagree.
We,
And
we,
I wouldn't wanna
we do
say
our best to
Memorial
be
Day.
as clear as we possibly can.
we create a read for our own back if we
Yeah.
get too precise
When
on
we
that.
sign a contract with Robert Hour, right? In a
Yeah.
contract, you always have
If they
dates.
cannot anticipate a winter storm,
Yeah, weather.
you've seen the notices we send out. And like Nina said in the beginning of this, we are experts at closures. We never say, we're promising you tomorrow.
Yeah,
the
we say,
beaches
we
are-"
will
Reevaluate.
reevaluate. That's usually the word
So,
we use.
subject to weather, I think that's understandable.
Right, but I mean, that's why you don't say, we even anticipate. This is what phase one is gonna go through and phase two, whatever it is. They know what their contract date is, but that doesn't mean if there's extenuating circumstances, we're not gonna have a whole pile of people on April 1st standing there saying, you guys said.
Yeah, you don't want that.
I'm sure Robert
But-
Hour's contract has all kinds of outs for
But
timing,
people
weather
have,
and everything else, so.
but people are making plans, rentals, right? They need to know whether or not they'll be able to use the beach on June 1st.
Or they rent someplace else if there's uncertainty, you either have to accept the uncertainty or rent somewhere else. They can't give you an exact date.
I can't believe we could be signing a contract where we have no idea. You're telling me you have no idea when this project's gonna be done. I just can't believe that.
Actually,
I
I
don't
don't think
believe
that's what they're saying. What they're saying is there is a contract date, but they cannot foresee what's gonna happen with
Okay.
storms,
Right.
with
So-
construction
so-
delays,
Right.
weather.
So weather
But once
is
you put
perfectly
once you put a date
acceptable.
out there, once you put any finite time on there, a date, they will hold us to that. And I mean the public, so that is why
Yeah.
we never, ever do that.
There's a
It's,
big-
we're gonna reassess and, keep coming to the website for updates, and we will be updating you, because it does, something clicks in the head and says, well, Nina said it was gonna be open and we just
Tom,
don't do
can I
it.
just point out though, Chris has already stated that they do have some positive verbiage of, we anticipate, like he's
Right.
already stating that there is positive verbiage in the communication, all right, and it's gonna be in stages of, okay? So I'm sure as we get to the last stage of, there may be
Right.
some more positive verbiage in it. And I think it's very early. Nina already said that we're gonna discuss, okay, this stage now, and, we're trying to predict what's gonna happen here at the latter half of the stage. And so I think you've already, covered that very well and given us hope that that'll be communicated.
Think of this as a funnel. We've done a lot of communications and business stuff with plant buildings and acquisitions. Think of it as a funnel. At the beginning, the project's really big and scary and no one is sure how it's gonna go, including Robert Howard. Because they can't anticipate everything. But as the project goes and you get more refinement of the project, you get clear on what's happening in the timeframes, then you get down to a point where now we're ready to start talking about, more refined dates. Has nothing to do with whether there's a date in the contract. It's just that how you communicate what's gonna happen to an audience that has expectations that you may or may not be able to meet.
We're dealing with a
Too
whole
much
apparatus that
information.
knows what they're doing, has the professional experience, we
exactly.
need to let them do it.
Exactly.
We are, thank you, Bill.
I think we have an excellent
I-
town team on
we
this.
I
have done a lot
absolutely
of
hear the
this.
concern with the whole date thing. It is just, like I said, one of those beasts of construction. As we do get closer to the end of the project, I think like you alluded to, we will have a better idea. And I'm sure we'll be doing communications afterwards, or not afterwards, but leading up to the end of the project saying, hey, Sandy Neck is about to be back up and running 100%. So.
Any other comments about that? I agree with the sentiment that you guys know what you're doing. We have the town team that knows what they're doing. They have the experience. To me, it makes perfect sense. You can't, we can't start giving out dates. It doesn't make any sense. It just sets up us up for a fall, no matter how you do it. You're either late or you're early, it's you're never gonna hit the
Just gonna say
date.
that Robert B. Hour is well-known to us.
Big company, well known.
And very familiar with everything that goes on at Sandy Neck. So I think they will give us the best time that they can, weather contingent. I mean, let's face it, we have wintertime which is always a pain.
Keep in mind, there's nobody's winging this. There is an amazingly detailed project plan.
Oh, yeah.
That's being managed by Ty Bond and by Woods Hole Group. These are all professional organizations that do this stuff every day. You got the town team and communications, Nina and her team. There's not much that's gonna fall through the cracks here, and that's what we have to rely on, is that team will work well. As we get closer to the dates, they'll be able to give us the information we need to plan or make other plans, There will be disruptions, there's no question. And we've known that since 2016, when we started talking about this.
Good job.
A while.
All right, anything else regarding the, anything else you want to mention, or?
There will be a groundbreaking ceremony at some point in September, and y'all should be on standby for that. It's gonna be sort of limited parking at that point, so and I'll be away, so Donna will be communicating with you about a groundbreaking ceremony. We're still waiting to hear from CZM. We have a grant out there that should be rolling in sooner rather than later, getting some additional information about funding for this project. So both of those things, you should hear information about prior to our next meeting.
Thank you. I'm assuming that perhaps some heads up on this will be in the town manager's report to the town council.
Yeah.
Sounds
I believe the next town council is the 18th. Yeah, so it'll be in there. I'll make sure Kelly includes it.
No, I think it is. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
I'll make sure it's in the next one.
Okay, so the other thing that you just mentioned, CZM, if there are questions from counselors, one question I can envision coming up is, all right, the council authorized a bridge loan for the Sandy Neck financing. What's the status of the CZM grant?
Right.
So that might come up, I'm just explaining.
It may be resolved by then, or it's, you know,
Yeah, maybe-
Any day now,
Any
we
day.
should get an answer.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that be ready for that answer
absolutely.
or the question.
Because there's a potential bond issue on the backside of whatever we need to backfill the
Sure.
the
That would be
grants.
good news, but I can anticipate somebody asking.
Absolutely, yeah.
For the 18th, I don't think we'll have an answer by the 18th.
Then just say it's waiting
Waiting.
for, yeah,
Mhm.
I mean,
Fingers crossed.
whatever the answer is, but I'm just expecting that will
Yeah.
likely be a question that some councilors will
Definitely.
have.
Super.
Anything else from you guys?
No.
Okay, I don't think we have anything else on the agenda other than just a quick checkup, Bill, with you on public outreach, scout projects, anything going on with
I don't have
that?
anything fresh. I probably at a point where, well, with the project going on, but don't have any young people that have come to us as far as wanting something right now. Probably not anyone in the pipeline that I know of, but they would never come up. At some point, and this project winter is not the point, but we've always taken it where a kid comes and then we find a few projects or whatever. But you guys have a list already, so at some point, maybe we put that list together and then we take it to the kid versus him coming and asking. You know, so it's just maybe change a little bit the way we do it, you know, and
That sounds like a good idea.
Let's just talk about
a little broader reach to it,
talk about the
sure.
project,
you know.
from your perspective too. I think we missed out on Chris. He was gonna talk about the police support for the project, or?
I just have a quick question. How did things work out with the lending toy box library thing that
I
you
don't think that's still, actually, that's a good question. That's-
Oh, I've got some, he raised all of the money, all of the funding. So we have, getting the list of materials together, we'll be ordering it through Sandy Neck. He's moving forward very quickly with it.
That's great.
Everything looks really good. This young man is a dynamo. I mean, just raised every penny.
It's good.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, we'll look forward to having him finish that, come in and
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
Some
gotta,
questions.
obviously, that's putting those things out is dependent on the project, so.
yeah,
Well, he's gonna be building them off-site.
Yeah.
And then, because there's 3 units, and then we're gonna store them. And then when comes time when we get everything back together again, he could actually come out, place them out and, put his signage and stuff, but,
Roll that out with
Roll it
the
out.
project, you
Yep.
know?
yep, absolutely,
cool.
yeah.
okay, Chris, do you have anything you wanted to add to in terms of the police support for the project?
Nothing significant, I mean, obviously, this group and then everybody else tied to this project, they've got the lion's share of all of the work. We're just gonna be there to support in a public safety manner if needed and when. Nina and I have had conversation, we'll continue to talk about safety issues in the upper parking lot specifically. And then if we identify other issues as the project begins, we'll pivot and we'll address those issues too.
Okay. Any questions you guys have of Chris? Okay, new business, we just have a couple of quickies. You wanna just talk about another adjustment, the deer hunt?
Yeah, so we are recommending that the deer hunt wait a year. We are definitely gonna look at interruptions and access once we get deep into the sort of deer hunt time of year. It's just too logistically challenging, so we wanna put that to 2026 and then start doing it every other year from there.
Any questions?
Will it affect pheasant hunting?
So pheasant hunting, we think we can pull off because pheasant hunting starts in October, and as you can see, we still have ORB access in October. As we move into November, we're still sort of in that figuring out off-road vehicle access, particularly during the week, right? I'm finding weekends are different, so we have this kind of like switch that has to go on and off. So I'm not sure about access in November. So at that point, we can always stock the birds elsewhere or figure out a way to just get those last few days in of the pheasant hunt. So we think we can pull the pheasant hunt off, we think the deer hunt is too late in the year.
And the other issue is fees. This is normally our time of the year, we talk about fees. Sorry, you go.
I actually was asked by someone about the deer hunt, knowing that I was on the board here. So make sure you get that information out to individuals who have shown interest in that deer hunt.
I wonder what list we could use for that.
Do you have
We
any?
must have a list
We
from
do
last
have,
year.
yeah, we have a list from, it's all.
Because they'll spread the word real quick
Sure.
amongst themselves.
And I think that's something that that every year, when we do the deer hunt, we put the deer hunt information on the front page of the website, so everybody's
Okay.
very used to finding it
Good,
there.
good.
So we'll
But-
do that, but I know we definitely have lists from prior years.
Yeah, or at least get it out there earlier so that folks can plan to deer hunt otherwhere.
Right.
Because it's,
Well,
it's,
Early as
and
possible.
it doesn't necessarily, I mean, there's plenty of other places.
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To go, and we've been doing it, what, the second week of
December.
So we
Right
usually
after
do
pheasant
the archery hunt during Thanksgiving.
right?
Right.
And then the deer hunt, yeah, I wanna say it's right in there, this is your week off and then a week back on.
Yeah.
So I
Um,
think December
gonna
is
be
gonna
right
be
in
Would you, are
very
you like
busy.
100% sure at this point that,
Yeah,
because I can start that ball rolling
Yes, please.
on the way out the door?
thank you, thank you.
Can you add it to your communication as well, or is
Hey.
it such a small user?
It's already started, by the way.
It wasn't even him.
That's right.
His father is one of my hunting
Deer
associates.
share.
okay.
Okay, the last thing on the agenda was fees. This is normally our month for discussing potential fee proposals, which then, as you know, we discuss for 2 months, and then it goes to the town manager, and then eventually to the town council. You want to talk about that, or?
Yeah, so we usually do raise fees every other year. We raised fees last year. So this would be an off year. My anticipation is that I'm gonna stay on that target. I do think that we have one more meeting to discuss it. We're hoping to know about the CCM grant at that point. And we're also hoping to know a little bit more about what the spring looks like. Is there gonna be a need to do a prorate of any sort? So I'd like to bring this back to the table in October. That'll still give us time to do the hearings if need be.
Any questions? Okay. Public comment. You have to come up and identify yourself.
Come with you, you good? With you? I'll be a team player. I'm sorry.
Take a seat.
Take a seat, relax.
My name is Robert Bilodeau. Been going out to Sandy Neck my whole life, camping for 15 years or so out there. Recently got involved with Paul and the MBBA. Know a bunch of you, some of you anyways. I was hoping to present a proposal regarding campfire privileges in the off-season for self-contained vehicles. I was hoping for consideration to extend the timeframe when we could have the campfires through the end of November and then start up again the beginning of April. In the fall, as Nina said, it's beautiful out there. It's a great time of year to enjoy the beach. A lot of us like to continue camping later in the season. Campfires would be beneficial to our staying out there. And on the flip side, in the spring, some of us like to get out there early, dust things off, get it moving, and also campfires would be very beneficial then. I feel for the most part that self-contained vehicles on the beach are probably one of the user groups that requires the least interaction and management. Most of us are tenured users that support management, abide by the rules. The campers are very well equipped with, fire extinguishers, water buckets, all that sort of stuff. And this proposal does not change off-season timing, beach closure hours, any of that. It's just allowing the campfires for that extra month on each end. So I'd appreciate your consideration on this. And, yeah.
Does anybody have any, we'd have to, would it be best to get something in writing from them or just, or we?
No, I think this is a fine format for that. I don't think we need it in writing.
And I fully understand that with everything else that may be very much affected, this year and
Yeah, this
winter
year
and
is.
whatnot.
So this is, just so you know, this is an off year for regulation changes as well.
Yeah.
So that's a regulation change, what you're proposing.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect there were, I don't know what the reasons were, I suspect there were probably reasons that it was structured this way because of fire protection issues or availability of staff and things like that, can be problematic too, because there's a lot of wind and stuff like that. So I don't know whether it's possible, I suspect it's an issue not just for Nina, but possibly the fire department.
Yeah, the fire department, I work closely with the fire department on fire permits. Back in the day, everybody had to get a fire permit, and now the park manager sort of owns that responsibility of allowing folks to have fires. And I work closely with Chief Maruka now, the new chief, on their comfort of level of fires on Sandy Neck, and hence the distance between campers, which, my God, you would think I was asking people this last weekend to give up their first child to have some distance between campers. But all of that is because I carry the responsibility of the fires. And that's also why we're very strict about speed, wind speed and wind direction. In addition, the reason that we have it set up the way it is because I have staff there.
Yeah.
So I don't have staff after 4 p.m. starting November 1st. So October 31st is the last time. So we don't have anybody managing the beach, being available to decide if a fire is appropriate or not. And so that is why my decision as the holder of that responsibility is why we don't allow fires when staff is not available after 4 p.m. That's how it works with the fire chief. I certainly can talk to him about it, but there is concern about onshore wind. People really make the right decision there. I'm sure you would, sir. I know there's a lot of campers that would, some campers that wouldn't make the right decision.
I can't argue that.
And so an evening when no staff is there, and there's a stiff onshore wind, is like, yeah, but it's fun, and the dunes catch on fire, and they have. They have caught on fire before. And that's there's all this, the regulations aren't just us trying to, rein in the fun, be the fun police. There's like specific reasons, and it usually comes back to safety or natural resource protection. And so that's the backbone of why we do it that way. So that you understand.
No, it makes sense. I do understand that.
I think it's also important to note, I think we're one of the only, if not the only beach that allows fires at all, I think, on the beach, aren't we? We did some of the benchmarking.
Race Point should.
As they race point.
I have, actually, weirdly, I have
Yeah,
that
we
here.
did have a benchmark.
Race Point, it says yes with additional fire permit. So again, they're so they probably have the same thing, like somebody's responsible for you having a fire. So at a lot of these other beaches, as we know, Nauset, no campfires, cook fires only. I know that's probably a hot debate of what is a cook fire and what is a campfire. I don't want to try to be defining that myself. Long Beach, no campfires, cook fires. Crow's Pasture, no campfires, contained cook fires. Duxbury, no campfires. So we're kind of already the one that has the freest reign there.
Somebody did something this year, which has always been, as you guys know, kind of my pet peeve, is to drive down an access trail and have a piece of burnt firewood kicked up off my tire, and put a dent in the bottom of my pickup truck bed. But there was a collection point. I don't know if that staff was just putting the burnt wood that they would pick up there, and were you finding that people would pick that up and reburn that?
Yes.
Or, because that's great.
Yeah, staff is
Wonderful.
cleaning the beach. The other thing is, and the campers, the ORV folks would not notice it as much. And again, this is not just aimed at campers or anything else. Juanita had the discussion with the chief, both the prior chief and the new chief. We have cut way back on public fires. We don't, it used to look like.
Public beach fires.
Public beach fires. It used to look like, Rome was burning. And so there was a massive discussion. So that's why we charge for them. They pay $20 for these fires. We usually do between 9 and 10, depending how large. If there's a large group, we do less than that. But the fire chief is very, very adamant, as staff is, that it has to be safe and it has to be controllable. So it's not like, oh, we're picking on the campers or anything like that. It's just that this really has to do with safety. It really does.
Question, would it be more negotiable if it was a contained fire off-season? Like in a rim or whatever guys use, tubs, versus just being dug into the sand?
I mean, off the top of my head, probably not. I certainly can talk to the chief. I communicate with him quite often. I think what we're looking at is that strong onshore wind with the ashes going up into the now November dry dunes, that's even more flammable.
Especially the winter winds are prevailing northeast, so you're
Right.
mostly onshore. So what we'll do is we'll leave it to Nina as an action item to consider it and talk to the fire people, other appropriate people. And then our next meeting will Nina can address what she thinks makes sense.
I'll be happy to get back to you. I appreciate the conversation.
Okay.
Next up.
I'm with you guys for a second.
Take my seat.
I'm Colleen Spiro. I just have a question, and I had asked Nita this, unfortunately, in not the most appropriate way this past summer. When there's a decision that's been made not to have a fire at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and the wind dies down, and the midges are out, and the kids want to do, s'mores and stuff around the campfire. I wanted to know if there was a mechanism where, like, the responsible or head person on duty could make a call to say, it was right, at 5 o'clock, we had gales. Right now, it's dead. And it goes both ways. I mean, you might allow us to have fires, and then all of a sudden the wind kicks up. And the head person on duty should have the ability to go down the beach and say, we need you to extinguish your fires. The wind has got to be up to an unacceptable level, and we don't want to risk the dune vegetation. So I just didn't know if there was a mechanism in place that whoever's on duty at the time has the ability to change the call or either way. That's my question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
The calls have been changed before. But I can't quite remember the situation that you're speaking of, but we definitely.
That's when I asked the guy on duty to call you at home at 8:30 at night or something.
Probably not a
And
good
I
idea.
apologize for that.
Yes,
But I own it. And I was like, can't we have fires? Because it died down to nothing. But before 5 o'clock, it was ripping.
Yeah, well, there'd be no change,
the weather changes so
there'd be no
quickly.
reason to change it at 8:30 because then the fires are done at 10. So I trust my staff to make the right decision.
Okay, so it
The right
can't be-
decision is not to call me at 8:30.
No, I get that.
The answer is no.
Really good right decision.
I pushed the envelope there. I absolutely own that.
And what is your
but-
permit number?
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I think Nina and Donna have it memorized. They have it memorized. So that was my only question.
Okay.
Very
good.
I did want to go back to one other thing, if we could. At the beginning of tonight's meeting, we were talking about water quality. Has there been any water quality studies done of the estuary by the Department of Environmental Protection to look at nutrient loading or maximum daily loadings and all of that stuff? Because you were talking about the marsh dying off. Like a regulatory agency versus like the Audubon or, somebody that has the science background to, know how to take samples and proper sampling techniques and analytical techniques.
Yeah, there's a lot of water testing throughout town.
Does the DEP do that or does the town do it?
DMF does, Department of Marine Fisheries does a lot of water testing on our back
And then
water.
it goes to the county lab?
I can answer.
Yeah, I knew you could.
I
Give
was
it
a
up.
water tester at one time.
Okay, that's my career too.
Oh, that was probably 30 years ago or something like that. But it gets collected and goes to the southeastern Massachusetts,
DEP in Lakeville?
no, the SMAS in Dartmouth, where they do the, they collect all the samples from south side, north side, all
Right.
test on the same day, under the same weather conditions, and that way they're normalized for comparison north side to one side to another.
All right, I was just curious if the DEP had ever done like any kind of environmental
For years,
analysis
they've been decades.
of
they've
the,
just-
yeah.
North side,
Are there
south side.
reports on the condition of,
You can look them up,
okay, all right,
I'll probably find it for you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the
I
board?
have just
Okay,
one more brief
sorry,
thing.
go
I
ahead.
know we're probably running
That's okay,
late.
go ahead.
I just had an idea because a lot of the users that come down to the beach, whether they're day trippers or campers, actually come from off Cape. So, you're talking about doing public outreach and stuff like that and putting stuff on local websites that people may not think to actually access. So where we're all sticker holders, whether they live in Middleborough or Pembroke or whatever, we all have stickers. Can't there just be like and maybe it's cost prohibitive, but can't there be a mailing done to everybody that holds a sticker that talks about, yay, we're starting this project and, with the dates and all the other public outreach things you guys are talking about, you probably already have every sticker holder's name and address.
Well, we
Maybe-
do have a venue to do that, is we can email every current sticker holder, we do that all the time.
That's the plan. so-
That's
Okay.
the plan,
Okay.
that's the
Okay, I
plan.
just didn't know if it would be snail mail or if it would be
So to
email.
be clear, right now, we're just talking about parking lot closure.
Oh, right.
So we don't want to get everybody confused about what that means. The word closure sort of gets everybody wound up. I always use the word open, if
Yeah.
you've noticed that. It's not that the beach is closed at such the beach is open to da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Because people hear closed and it's like a knee-jerk reaction. Right now, what I'm telling you is the ORV beach is gonna be open into November. Everybody stay calm, stay the course.
Exactly, I agree
As
with
we
you.
move forward and we have the next phase that I'm gonna present at the next meeting, we can talk with the counterpart Kelly about these other conduits to go specifically to the cottage owners and to the off-road vehicle folks, so we can slice out that piece using our database of emails. And we also-
Wonderful.
Because I was just thinking,
Wonderful.
you were talking a lot about the town websites and the Sandy Neck, some people aren't, and I'm one of them, aren't as technologically advanced as others. So they may not think if they live off Cape, it's not first and foremost in their head. And I know you don't want to raise the alarm because closure is a red flag. So I understand that very much. But anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you, appreciate it. Any other public comment or? Okay, I guess we'll look for a
Motion to adjourn.
Sorry, Rich.
I just wanted to basically let everyone know, and Colleen was here, that we are in fact working on a Nate King memorial.
Right.
And that will be maybe an action item for next
Right.
meeting. All right?
Also, I just want to say,
That's what was said.
thank you to the teams at the beach, to Chris and his team for a great summer, safe
Yeah.
summer.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And you guys always make it easy for us.
It might have been, it was a rough one for us.
We don't want to know.
I'm not gonna lie.
We don't want to know. what
I
they
don't
did.
wanna know the
Just keep smiling and tell us it was great.
Nobody died, and we're all here, yeah.
Right.
So, no, thank you very much from the board for all your
I
hard
appreciate
work
it.
and
I think it was
professionalism.
it was a
Absolutely.
particularly good season. The staff was excellent. The seasonal staff was excellent. PD was so supportive.
It's a team.
It's been really a good year. And I think to speak to how good of a year it was for the public was the 4th of July. It was so busy on the 4th of July. It was wild. But everybody was having a good time. They were being respectful. We had no issues with alcohol. It was just a lot of people respectfully and responsibly enjoying
And
the
having
beach.
a good time.
And
Right.
and everybody left and everybody said yay, and then the dumpster fire happened midnight, but that was another topic. So I think that sort of speaks to the whole summer, where it was a lot of people having a good time. And somehow we've sort of switched that with the help of the PD, sort of switched the vibe out there. really made it a welcoming place for everybody, and understanding of respecting each other, respecting staff, respecting the environment. So it was a good year, and I am smiling.
And I think it's, back to Pete, just before I forget the thought, back to Pete's point, I think this is a good example of teamwork, police department, staff, the board, working with you guys. And you guys work well with us. It's just a good relationship across the various stakeholders that are helping
Right,
to
and
make this place.
we can adjust and pivot little bits, but we're basically on the right.
Right.
Yeah.
The staff had a really good system with, I try to basically not be there late on a Saturday afternoon in July, but.
Why?
Greenheads.
This year, we needed to do that, and the people that were regulating and, the people that needed air, people that didn't need air, they did a fantastic job, and they were smiling about it. And we came through, I think, shortly after somebody had to be dug out of the access trail. I don't know if it was the annual Toyota Corolla or.
You mean weekly?
Somebody in a Corvette.
Annual Toyota Corolla.
No, we had it was like a Ferrari.
Ferrari. We had a Ferrari.
No, was it
was a
Alfa
Porsche.
Romeo?
Alfa Romeo.
What?
Buried, completely buried
Well, he
it.
found out on Google that he could get to the lighthouse.
Wasn't there a school bus that went down
Oh,
there?
the lighthouse.
I just
I
like
was there
waving
for
at
what?
those people as I drive by.
That's obviously not an easy situation for the staff to handle, and they were handling it, with good humor and.
They got a kick out of it. How often do you get an Alfa Romeo come down Sandy Neck anyway, but yes, try to go off on the beach. Yeah, no, it was kind of crazy.
Kudos, as I say,
Good group this
I
year.
try to
Really
avoid
good.
those times of the day, but,
Yeah.
sometimes you can't, and they were doing a good job of it.
I was happy to be able to see it.
You were there?
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Just to go on the summer's activities, I mean, I want to, as always, commend the staff out there. They do an incredible job, and one of the things that I will mention is we typically do some sort of scenario training every year, and it's a great training. It gets everyone to sort of see, all right, we need to step up here, we need to work on this. We actually happen to have a day where there was a lot of stuff that actually was probably crazier than any of the scenarios that we could have come up with. And it was live. And everybody was exactly where they needed to be. They communication, while it's always gonna be a challenge, when you have multiple agencies, which we did. We had police, we had fire, we had harbor master. We had detail officers on the beach, but then we also had retirees helping to cover details because we couldn't get enough people to work that day. And it was one of those situations where it popped off late in the afternoon. You had shifts changing. Everybody stayed over, nobody complained. Nina put her people in the right spots. When there were a couple of scenarios that changed during that one scenario, everybody just pivoted and did what they needed to do.
Agreed.
And
It was an A+1. It really was. I was smiling for days after that one.
well, you went out on a jet ski,
Well,
of course you
obviously.
did. But to make the joke, in that situation, the jet ski was the only vehicle that could get into where we needed resources. So when people ask, well, why do you have it? Well, that one scenario proved it.
Yeah. And if it was one life that needed to be saved, which it ended up being a great, everything turned out okay, but if it was one and the cost and the training and everything, if you save one life, is that not worth it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get
It
on a
was
windy,
wild.
you get a windy day down there and you're on a raft, you can be offshore
Oh,
in
we've
50
seen
feet of
it.
water pretty
Yep.
quickly.
Yep.
Well,
There's no
these
way to
people
get-
happened to be off of a boat and they were swimming, and people running the boat weren't paying attention, the people swimming weren't paying attention, and they sort of ended up in the fingers.
Yep.
And we got a call saying, we haven't seen our kids in 20 minutes, half hour.
Three kids.
3 teenagers.
Yeah, scary.
Yeah, terrifying.
Very, very scary.
So I mean, it literally was police, fire, harbor master, drones, ATVs, jet skis. I mean.
They were teenagers, right? You sure
Yeah,
it wasn't done on
they were
purpose?
No, they were.
That explains everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had
So it
teenagers
was a
like
good one,
Bill
thank you
have.
for bringing that up, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you guys ought to actually document that and use it
Yeah.
as a, look back at that and see how it all went together, sometimes at the heat of the moment, it just happens, but.
After everything's over,
Have a debrief.
debrief,
Yeah.
always, what could we have done
Yeah.
better? What went right, what could have, and tweak
Yes,
this. And that day was perfect.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
It was
Happy
perfect.
ending.
Happy
That's great.
ending, that's, yeah.
Speaking of happy endings, anybody want to make a proposal, motion to adjourn?
All in favor? Aye.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Not the chairman. I'm the vice chair. I'm the vice chair.